can hardly stand to see the lipstick on the cigarettes there in the ashtray. Lying cold the way you left them, but at least your lips caressed them while you packed. Or a lip print on a half-filled cup of coffee that you bought and didn't drink. But at least you thought you wanted it. That's so much more than I can say for me. It's been a good year for the roses. Many blooms still linger there. So I could stand another mowing. Funny, I don't even care. As you turn to walk away, as the door behind you closes, the only thing I have to say, it's been a good year for the roses.
6 months ago, when we filmed Elvis Costello singing that simple song, he's about to embark on a musical journey that would lead to a major change in both his work and his reputation. Having established himself as the best songwriter that the English New Wave had produced, he's about to go to America, to Nashville, to record a collection of other people's songs, all of them from the unfashionable, even derided genre known as country music. He was to take his selection to the legendary Billy Sherrill, who, as writer and producer, has made himself a Goliath of that world through his work with stars like Tammy Wynette and Charlie Rich. Our film, directed by Peter Carr, follows the making of the album Almost Blue in Nashville. We start, though, with a brief look back at the kind of qualities which have established Costello as one of the leading figures of British rock, as one of the most articulate in a frustrated generation which at times seems determined to appear inarticulate.
Everybody is going through the motions. Everybody is going through the motions. Are you really only going through the motions? Love service is all you'll ever get from me. Love service is all you'll ever get from me. Love service is all you'll ever get from me.
I think when Elvis Costello first appeared, he appealed to those people who were both disillusioned and dissatisfied with the pomposities of the supergroups of the early 70s who had dominated that entire area of music, and to the people who couldn't quite get behind or tolerate the more ranting excesses of early punk, which was a lot of shaking of fists at society and so on. His work captured the rage and the momentum of the best punk music, and the attractions played with a kind of hostility and a complete ferocity which was very similar to it. But he allied that to a very incisive lyrical sense, which was unique to him, I think. And he started investigating themes of social dissatisfaction, but allying them again to a very literate and cohesive look at the kind of peculiarities of relationships and so on, sex and jealousy. And suddenly he seemed to be coming at his audience from so many different directions.
Blind shot of that jumping sign, visible shivers running down my spine. Got through baby taking off her clothes, close up at a sign that says we never close. You snatch your tune, you match your cigarette. She pulls the eyes out with a face like a magnet. I don't know how much more of this I can say. in the lake. She is watching the detectives. Ooh, it's so cute. Watching the detectives.
I don't think it should seem illogical or bizarre that Costello should now go to Nashville to record a country album, because although the popular conception of country music condemns it as being sentimental, bland and lachrymose, the best of it contains a real soul and depth of feeling that people don't often recognise. George Jones or Hank Williams, say, could take what appears to be a trite lyric and turn it into something really quite monumentally moving.
I think that my writing, or at least the way my writing is viewed, has become a little precious and introspective over the last album and a half maybe, become less direct. And I think it's time maybe to use singing to say the sound of the voice rather than the actual words, because so many people get, if you can string more than 3 decent syllables together, you immediately become poet laureate in rock and roll, you know. And because there are so many complete imbeciles in it. And therefore, I think it's time to use a different area of what we do. And I've never really put the emphasis on the sound of the voice, on the singing, my ability to sing. Never pushed it to the fore, and a lot of people probably don't think I can sing well enough to do that.
Sweet dreams of you. Every night I go through, I should hate you, girl, the whole night through. Instead, I'm having sweet dreams all about you. Doing songs which say something in a sound that can't really be expressed in words, and that's why I like country music, the kind of stuff I like. And it's almost, if I could get anybody that doesn't think country music is any good for an hour and play them my favourite country songs, then they maybe would see my point. So in a way, making this album is hopefully to put that point across. Start living life anew. Instead, I'm having sweet dreams all about you. There's a minor conceit in there that we have an established audience, albeit based somewhat on the songwriting, but I would say it was based on the records that we make, which is not totally down to the songwriting. It's the way we play and the way the group plays and the live work that we've done and because of the amount we've toured, that presumably there are some people that will actually listen to me doing country music where they wouldn't listen elsewhere. And also the hope in going there that it'll still remain our album, our personality transferred to Nashville and filtered through other people's songs. We know we can create a more united sound than a bunch of session musicians who will just play to the accepted standard that they play it, because my own band know the dynamics of my voice. I'll tell you no when you're gonna ask me why. When I remind you of all of this, you cry.
Nashville has become the centre over the last 20 years of country music. That's where the people started really building up the record company domination as opposed to it being a literal country music. And the big labels started bringing people in from the country, and gradually a sound developed there, and 1 or 2 producers pioneered the sort of country polyphon sound. I think they refer to it, Chet Atkins and Billy Sherrill, who's the producer that we're going to use, and he's the man that we want to use mostly because he has such a great background. Not only is he a very good producer, but he was an engineer at Sun Records, which was the label that was based in Memphis, that they discovered Elvis Presley and Carl Perkins, Roy Orbison, and Charlie Rich and Johnny Cash all recorded their earliest records for him. So he has that history of being always connected with these people who have then gone on, and many of them have recorded with him later, and he's become one of the 2 or 3 most successful producers in Nashville. as a businessman and as a producer and a writer, he has the credentials of having written and produced like numerous hits. At least one record that sold 4 million, which was The Most Beautiful Girl in the World, and Stand By Your Man, which almost everybody would know, Tommy Wynette record. He wrote and produced that.
He has this kind of almost magic touch.
If we go through the lock and take a left into the Mississippi, into the Tennessee, go down to the Mississippi, into the Gulf, and take a hard left, we can hit London in about a year. How about that?
He's also quite guilty of being the sort of one of the founders of a movement which country music came in for a lot of criticism in that he started to use strings a lot and lots of backing vocalists, and sometimes it can be the albums that he produces can be accused of lacking quality material, but when he does do it, he really does.
Now here's staff meteorologist Fred Wagner.
Fine weather for the next several days, but it could be a little on the showery side for later Saturday and into Sunday.
Nashville has a population of 500,000, and among that 500,000 there's supposed to be 3,000 musicians and 100 record companies and about 400 odd publishing companies. Even taking into account that a lot of those are small operations, being as Billy Sherrill is the head of one of the biggest, he's a pretty important bloke.
Hundreds of Nashvillians are responding to this opportunity to get their favorite flowers.
We have done a tryout tracks there in the middle of our last American tour. He seemed very wary of me and probably, doubtful that I had any ability. When I did the vocals, he seemed impressed to the point that he'd at least talked to me then. He isn't very critical. He seems to go silent, from my experience and what I've been told about him, that if he leaves the room for anything over half an hour, you know you're doing something wrong.
Old stuff, new stuff?
Mostly old stuff, yeah. I'm sure songs you'd know. I mean, I went through a lot of tunes. I decided against bringing any of my own tunes. I think it'd break it up a bit. I think the whole thing is to do...
Unless we write one this week, better than all the old.
Yeah, yeah, all right, yeah. But I waded through like loads of records looking for stuff, and picked out some ones that I like doing. I think we've got a list there's about 30. And there's a couple of blues tunes which we've been doing, which might be nice to do, with the steel in the background to give it a bit of a colour.
Yeah.
And a couple of rockers as well.
Yeah. All right.
Right?
Okay. When are we going to start, today or tomorrow?
Or today.
All right. I entered into the thing totally in the dark. I'd only heard a few of his album cuts and a couple of singles because he's on CBS Records. And I really wasn't into him that much, you know. He came in about 6 months ago and asked me if I'd help him do a couple of sides. I didn't know what I could contribute to his style. Nothing to his style, but to his music. I don't know. He apparently liked Nashville, so he decided to come back, you know.
Out again. Please, baby, wait for me until they let me out again.
Yeah. Elvis.
Yeah?
You sure know how to make a guy feel old. I mixed the original one on Charlie Rich 20 years ago. Are you saying drunk on purpose? The original lyrics loaded now.
Yeah, I know. I prefer drunk because loaded isn't a word I'd use.
Okay.
I got this.
Hey, Pete, hit me your number one tom there, babe.
Can I have a bit more vocal, please?
Sure.
Become second.
All right, you second one now, babe.
Beg your pardon?
No, it's talking to Pete. Thank you.
I got squiffy. All right, should we do it?
Yeah. Here we go.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I got drunk last night on a bottle of gin, and I had a fight with my best girlfriend. When I'm drinking, I am nobody's friend. So baby, wait for me until they let me out again.
The sounds on the records he produces, even the ones which are guilty of being swamped by strings, are still very good. I think they just get it very effortlessly. They've been at it so long. That studio has its own sound as well. The amount of hit records that have been made there, I don't think they have to try very hard to create a good sound.
Now, country music is all lyric. And if Elvis can get these songs across, which I think he has, from an honest point of view, I think country music is also honesty, and I think Elvis is very, very sincere in what he does. That'll go a long way as to what this album does.
But do you think those songs, particularly songs like Sitting and Thinking, are capable of reinterpretation?
By Elvis Costello, yes.
I spent a whole lot of time sitting and thinking, sitting and just thinking about you. If I didn't spend so much time sitting and drinking, we still have a lot I thought with you. I won't promise the same thing won't happen again.
I'm hoping that it'll become quite relaxed. I mean, at the end of the second day that we recorded on this tryout in Nashville, it was much more relaxed. I don't think you can become as friendly with him because he's got this distance that he puts between him. But I think it should be possible to impress him, even if he doesn't show that he's impressed. I'm sure that if it rolls along well, it'll be because we've impressed him.
Out again. Oh, baby, wait for me until they let me out again.
Okay?
Yeah, well, that sounds like...
Sound like Sitting and Thinking kind of rocked up a little bit.
What, too much?
I don't know. I mean, why not do it like it's always been done? Sounds pretty good.
All right, maybe we lay off it a bit. Let's try and lay off it a bit in the bridges. Yeah, because that's where it really... Because I'm only singing quieter there.
You don't just keep it rocking all the way, eh?
Well, we did modify it. You don't think we want to...
Well, it modified, yeah. It got a lot simpler in the bridge. I think it's a lot better than what it was.
Yeah. I do like it rocky like that, though.
Yeah, well, it might be too much of a departure to hit that 2/4 there in the bridge.
They had one mistake in everything.
Somebody, between the two first verses, somebody didn't fall back to the 5 chord there.
Bass.
I'm not going to say who it was, but he's playing bass. I mean, there's songs that I've been playing and singing and listening to for the last 17 or 18 years, so I would have a biased opinion of those songs. I'm worn out on the songs personally, but I can't let that get in the way of whether or not Elvis Costello could have a very successful run at it, you know. And I mean, all the songs, Ray Charles did an album, Modern Sounds of Country Music. And as far as I was concerned, all those songs had been hits, but that meant nothing because Ray Charles took it into a whole different media. And so Elvis might could do the same thing. Hopefully we can, you know.
You think you might be able to?
I hope so. Buy another boat.
And my arms keep reaching for you, and my eyes keep searching for you, and my lips keep calling for you, and my shoes keep walking back to you, and my shoes keep walking back to you. Sweet dreams of you every night I go through. I should hate you, girl, the whole night through. Instead I'm having sweet dreams all about you. The judge forgot to tell me how I'd live my life alone, what I would do without you after loving you so long. You didn't seem to care that I'm still in love with you. You changed your name from Brown to Jones and mine from Brown to Blue.
I like the sound of the sad songs. Maybe it'll be a very melancholic album, but I mean, there have been. I mean, some of my favourite records are my two favourite Frank Sinatra records are No One Cares and Only the Lonely, which are exclusively sad songs. But listening to them isn't necessarily depressing. It's not like listening to Leonard Cohen or something. I mean, it's, you know, it's not wrist-slitting music. I think there's that sad country is like blues. It's kind of uplifting. We do have some rock and roll numbers, one of which is a Hank Williams number, Why Don't You Love Me Like You Used to Do, which might be a problem because I don't know to what degree Hank Williams is held still in reverence. I know that lots of artists have recorded very reverent albums, very serious tribute albums to him.
You know that's the wrong chord on the Worn Out Shoe.
Yeah.
It should stay on E. It should stay on E. Worn Out Shoe.
Nothing like it used to do. I come and treat it like a worn out shoe.
I mean, that's the original. It doesn't matter.
I think it sounds better. Yeah. We've arranged it like that. Hank Williams, he was the first big star of country music. He was like also the first kind of sex symbol. It was because before that it had almost been regarded as religious tinge, very family-orientated, very strict, moral kind of music. And although he sang a lot about the conflicts between that upbringing, because he did religious monologues at the same time. He was a drunk and a pill addict, and I don't think that's a slander. I think pretty much everybody knows that by now. But he's also the greatest country singer, apart from George Jones, certainly the greatest country writer ever. trying to do it like a Jerry Lee Lewis rearrangement, which I'm interested to see whether he takes a dislike to that, because rock and roll is often treated as a little bit of a joke on country records.
Yeah. Can we keep that one?
Sure.
I got a call here from Hank Williams.
He's turning in his grave.
Bit of a shock to the system.
What if we played it back through the phones? Everybody just played what they did again.
Double
everything.
Idea.
I
never did like that.
Let's do that. No one's ever done that. Play the same. No one's ever done that. Just go out and play it all again.
Works.
With a track.
Play the track and play it again.
I bet Slade have done it.
I wouldn't mind having a go.
They do that with the drums anyway.
I wouldn't mind having a go.
You think you can keep up with yourself?
Yeah, I know exactly what I do.
Our Father, who art in heaven.
Well, I think that Billy Sherrill double bluffed us on that. I think he realised we were setting out to outrage him, and then that he deliberately went over the top.
Why don't you love me like you used to do? Ain't had no loving like a hundred and a picture in the bar. Why? You don't get a little further closer than a country mile. Why don't you love me like you used to do? Say sweet nothing like you used to do. Somebody change so that I give you a clue. Why don't you love me like you used to do? Why don't you love me like you used to do? Why don't you love me like you used to do?
You left it in the other vocal.
Hank left the grave. He's on the way over here.
I loved it. I really did. Especially after we doubled everyone. But that's another case in point. I've heard that song since I was eight weeks old, you know. And I think it's a good way of doing it this way. It's the only time I've ever heard it done this way. In fact, this is what I thought he was going to do with all the other songs.
Because that was the one song that he thought you might react badly against.
No. I think he gave it a very unique rendition of the song.
And you like it?
I may become an Elvis Costello fan after all.
Robert Altman made a film, Nashville, which was very unpopular, I believe, in Nashville, because they said it was very unkind and it was a bit too much of a parody. But I'm sure there are people that get off the bus and do imagine they're going to make it and all that, and really get disillusioned by the place. There seem to be a lot of very unhappy people. Maybe it's because they get a lot of people coming in with expectations which are unfulfilled or something. But it's a very tense kind of place. That's probably the least comfortable I've ever felt in America. I mean, I find it much more threatening than, say, New York or any part of London, you know. The bars are just have lots of groups of just playing the hits of the day. Somebody was actually shot for not knowing one song in a couple of days after we were down there. And it's just very uneasy. Something ugly is almost certainly going to happen, you know, and it does. People do get shot. It's very easy to get a gun, you know, and you go into places and there's guns, and these are not guns for shooting animals. These are guns for shooting human beings. Everybody's hanging around on this place because it's called Broadway and the bars are there and that's supposed to be where it's happening. And there isn't anything happening. I think they just sit around there and just get older and drunker. From what I've heard, it's very hard to break into becoming a session musician. You also have to be very good, which unfortunately a lot of them aren't. You know, it's just a cruel fact, you know.
I'd like to try a number now, today, and one of mine. Tears Before Bedtime, then.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, because it's quite a simple one to just learn up quickly.
What were yours?
Oh, Billy Sherrill got really excited when we started doing something a bit different. Actually made some sort of contribution to it.
Maybe I'm being a bit paranoid, but I got the feeling that he doesn't really take me that seriously, like, as a country singer. It's like when we're doing the older numbers, it's like, to him, that's what he does all the time.
He definitely got more excited when we were doing something.
He did a bit of original, and then an original bold production movie.
Don't you think, in a way, though, he was just trying to double bluff us? Like,
well,
I think he sort of knew that we were trying to shock him.
That as well.
Otherwise, he wouldn't have said that thing about, Hanks on the phone and all that. So with this song, the first song we do of mine, if it goes well, then maybe we should try a couple more.
I see that strange look in your eyes once again. Name on the tip of your tongue is I'm a woman and not a man. I can count up the ghost too late. The balance of a love that is soon just hate. There'll be tears before bedtime, there'll be trouble tonight. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I don't want to fight.
We bashed through the number very, very roughly. I thought if we're going to get it, we're going to get it first take or second take, before the band really knew it. That's what I wanted it to sound like. Billy obviously didn't think it worked. He made a comment, he said, it's country music in terms of the lyrics, but not in terms of the music.
Yeah. Very good. Great, Steve.
He didn't obviously want to offend me by saying he didn't fit in. I think he waited for us to make that decision ourselves. I mean, he did one of his drifting in and out things.
He hasn't shown any interest in what we're doing. I just don't think he actually gives a shit what we do.
No, because he did precious little with the song that we went in with today. He didn't really get involved. He just completely abdicated his responsibility while we recorded that song.
He told me, he said that he's trying to feel it out. I mean, he's still actually trying to figure out what is it. Well, by the time we've all figured it out, the whole thing will be finished. Anyway, so it doesn't matter. That's the idea.
I think that sort of occurred to him today.
It occurred to me as well.
We don't know how much he's working and not working, because how much he understands us, because it's not a totally different thing. Particularly when we go out of these areas, he can sit there tight and produce any of those straight, traditional numbers, or like 40s and 50s numbers, and because that's part of his whole background, then he can do that automatically. But when you do something outside of that, he doesn't seem to do anything.
I guess I would be called a slick country producer. It'd be very easy for me to pick up the phone and have a guitar, bass, piano, drum, steel guitar in the studio within 15, 20 minutes. These guys do not play like Nashville musicians. To me, musically, they enhance Elvis, his style, and his voice. I think it would have been detrimental to the whole project to try to bring in some of my well-oiled Nashville musicians and put them behind Elvis Costello. And my silence is what's the word? After a take, congratulatory. They play quite a bit raunchier and with a little bit more, a little rawer than the average musician. I think that's exactly why should I try to change that?
I got loaded last night on a bottle of gin.
On the Friday, Billy didn't turn in. I'd been sick earlier in the week, and he rang in saying that he thought he'd got the same bug. And we carried on recording with just Snake. And I think We started to think at one point that he was maybe starting to lose interest. And we managed to get down a couple of things which we'd tried before, and we got the versions that I think that we needed, particularly Sitting and Thinking, which ended up being more, actually, in his absence, closer to Billy's idea of the arrangement, well, just closer to the original.
And each time it happens, I hate it more and more. When I'm drinking, I am nobody's friend.
I've taken a big cross-section of songs. Some of the songs are by lesser-known artists in England, but certainly well-known in American country music. The Byrds made a record of country songs, and I gather, in retrospect, it was down to the influence of a man called Graham Parsons, who later went on to form a group called the Burrito Brothers, who recorded a mixture of his songs and standards, country standards. And this was my first introduction to country music. Before that, I'd always regarded it as whining, sentimental rubbish. So I started to get curious and trace back the songs that particularly Graham Parsons did. He later went on to make 2 very good solo albums before he died. He was, I think, living out the Hank Williams tradition of the young, dangerous country singer who lives fast and dies young. The idea that it's somehow romantic to just destroy yourself and die young, which I don't subscribe to yet. Technically, he wasn't a very good singer. At least I think the condition that he got himself in tended to make his voice suffer. As you go through the history of his recordings, that his voice gets more and more cracked. And although it's affecting in an emotional way, it's just playing out of tune some of the time, you know.
You may be sweet and nice, but that won't keep you warm at night. 'Cause I'm the one who taught you how to do the things you're doing now.
For certain songs, it's necessary to drink enough to relax, to get into the mood almost to do the songs, particularly the sad songs. You have to almost like put yourself into a different world to sing songs like that. And then it gets to the point, obviously, whereas you drink to the point where your actual ability to stay in time and in pitch starts to defeat your objective.
Once upon a time, you let me feel you deep inside. And nobody knew, nobody saw. Do you remember the way you cried? I'm your toy, I'm your old boy. But I don't want no one but you to love me. Oh, I wouldn't lie. You know I'm not that kind of guy.
The other one, I'll sing over it if I can't do the same kind of performance as I just did, and that is my best performance of that song that we recorded.
Yesterday we're talking about now, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's a pity we couldn't have had the best performance.
That's
of the
fair enough.
back
They
end
would
as
really
well.
be able to say as well.
That's the trouble, isn't it?
Yeah, well, they don't always coincide. Sometimes it's, you know, I'm quite happy to put some of the numbers where I don't sing at my best for a good feel. Like, you know, Sitting and Thinking, like that version. I mean, it's not the best vocal I've ever done in my life, but then again, the song doesn't demand that from a singer. It just means you be there. Yeah. This one is just voice.
Well,
That,
that's
for
I mean,
me,
one of them.
that's what I want. That's what I wanted that song to
No,
be.
I wouldn't
like.
mind it going. I wouldn't mind it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind using that one. It just sounds a bit slow.
No, I like it like that. Instead of it me trying to pull you back, it was like I was trying to push you forward. Yeah.
Sort of like we're the team of horses and you're the stagecoach driver, you know, sort of thing.
Shut up.
We did so many tracks. I think we did 25 or 30 tracks. Very few playbacks. We go back, we do 4, 5, 6 more. We've done, I think it, over the weekend, once it all settles down and we go back in to do the mixing and the sweetening maybe next week, it'll all become either insanity or something real good. I don't know what we've done, to tell you the truth about it yet.
So you actually don't yet know whether the record is going to be good?
Well, I think it's good, but commercial, well, that'll remain to be seen. The definition of good in the music business is something that's commercially successful, you know.
I won't know until I've lived with the stuff a lot longer how good it is in terms of performance, emotional, lasting quality. I can't judge that because I'm too close to it. Because anyway, I'm the wrong person to say because I sang it. I can only say I'm happy with the technical side of the actual singing, and I got the sound that I wanted. That idea I had of a sound which created a feeling that I couldn't express in my own words, which is the whole point of recording this record. A lot of the tracks have achieved that.
There are several instruments, I'm sure, that we'd like to add to what we've already done. We've got very simple, basic tracks. I think we'd like to probably add some color instruments, vocal groups. Elvis, I think, would maybe like to overdub harmonies with himself, and then we'll mix her down, you know, see what we got. Then boil it down to an album.
They tend not to come in as well. The strings are used very subtly. The singers drift in, as do the strings. You know, they use them for dramatic effect to build up the arrangement. They don't just overlay them over everything, you know.
I should hate you, girl, the whole night through. Instead of having sweet dreams all about you. You don't love me.
See, they're creeping in now.
I should have known you'd never share my name. Why can't I forget you, girl? Started loving someone new. Instead of having sweet dreams all about you. Instead of having sweet dreams all about you.
This bit coming up is really where they've really added it.
Sweet dreams of you. Every night I go through.
One of the whole points of going there was to use the tension between our playing and my singing and certain elements of what are known as the Nashville sound, particularly the strings and the singers, which are usually what's criticised about the Nashville sound. But I think they are effective, they create a tension on, if they're not overused. And we had the singers come in who were, I'd never heard anything like it. They had one of the girls had perfect pitch and really did have perfect pitch. That's something that a lot of people claim to have. And they worked out the arrangements on paper. Their attention to detail was so great that it wasn't just how does he say that syllable, it was how does he actually pronounce the first hard consonant or something like that. It was that minute, the attention. And they went out eventually and didn't take them any time at all. And we were doing Goodyear for the Roses.
and they hit the chorus, and I sing, "It's been a good year for the roses," and they come in the back going, "Roses." And Billy turned round in his chair, he was sitting there, he turned right round and he said, "Welcome to Nashville." We wanted to do a live performance of the songs, but because John McPhee, who plays steel and guitar on the album, lives and works in America, we decided to just do one date. And rather than doing it in a club full of posers in London, we've decided to do it in front of a proper country and western audience in Aberdeen. An odd situation to be singing these very sad songs when I'm married and happily married, you know. But there's a sadness comes out of the past rather than the present. There's an element of self-destruction in it, which I think is quite evident. I think it's evident in the sound of the voice. In that there's always there's a contradiction in that I don't actually believe in the dying young thing, because you don't die romantically, and it's not attractive. But at the same time, sometimes I find myself inexorably drawn towards that. And certainly the songs that come from that kind of area. I don't think I can't work out in my mind whether I'm flirting with it or whether it's starting to take me over. I think this business sucks you in eventually. It's not really based around truth. But I have had the disturbing feeling that what I do is more based around perversion of truth for quite a while.
You may be sweet and nice, but that won't keep you warm at night. 'Cause I'm the one who taught you how to do the things you do now. You may feel all your charms, he may hold you in his arms, but I'm the one who let you in. I was right beside you then. upon a time, you let me feel you deep inside. Nobody knew, nobody saw. Do you remember the way you cried? I'm your toy, I'm your old boy. I don't want no one but you to love me. Oh, I wouldn't lie. No, I'm not that kind of guy. Once upon a time, you let me feel you deep inside. Nobody knew, nobody saw. Do you remember the way you cried? I'm your toy, I'm your old boy, but I don't want no one but you to love me. Oh, I would lie. You know I'm not that kind of
Thank you.
Elvis Costello. Next week, it's travel writing with Jonathan Rabin on the Mississippi. Good night.
Instead of having sweet dreams all about you.